If you love your laser engraving, but you often find yourself lacking inspiration, not knowing what to do, well, this episode today is going to give you a whole plethora of things that you can do. So we're going to be tapping into xTool Studio Atomm software. And within that, there is a load of really amazing things that allow you to create projects just like these, literally by putting a few numbers in a box. You don't need any CAD skills. You don't need any design skills. You can take them, put them straight into xTool Studio, and you can make these. These were made with the xTool F2, but all of this is applicable to any xTool laser. So if you want to find out how, stick around and I'm going to show you everything. So we're going to start off with Atomm, and I want to give you a quick run for it. If you've never heard of it, this is xTool's website where you can go, you can get inspiration. You don't need any design skills. You don't need any 3D CAD skills. You can come here and other people have uploaded them, and xTool themselves have also uploaded projects. You can click the explore button, and as you can see, you are greeted with some really inspirational things. In this case, we're using the xTool F2, and there is an xTool F2 project section. Check that out. You can specifically zoom in on your machine, the F series, P series, and it will give you specific projects for those. There's another tab which is laser and cut, and this one in particular has loads of user uploaded inspirational things. And one thing to note, if you have something you're proud of, you can actually upload your file on here and get points for it. There is a print section for their other clothing machines. I don't have those myself. Then you've got AI Make, which I absolutely love. I've used this so many times, and as you can see here, you can generate images, logos, 3D images, depth maps, whatever you need in this, and then put it straight into the software and engrave it. Really helpful. But today we're going to be focusing on Creative Lab, and this is really good because it's full of parametric models, and those models are basically, as I'm going to hover over here and show you a few examples, these are models which you only have to plug in basic dimensions of the sizes of what you need, and then it will take those dimensions, customize the file right in front of your eyes, and then you can export it and take it straight into xTool Studio, which will allow you to then create projects. So let's talk about these parametric models and the Creative Lab. So we're going to click on more, and this is going to show us the full suite of actual parametric models that is currently available to us. I know xTool are always adding to this, but as you can see, there are so many different options. So depending on the machine you're using, depends on what I would recommend. We're using the xTool F2 today, and that is a smaller machine. So you've got to think the cutting angle is coming down from the middle. It's going to be coming in at angle. So you're going to be slightly cutting on an edge. It's not going to be exactly flat down the side. So we don't want to pick something too complicated. That being said, I love this Fidget heart keychain. I've shown you at the start of the video how good it is, and we are going to run through this as our first project because it's complex but simple. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but what I will say is I have had a lot of fun with this one, and all you need to do is follow my steps and you can do it too, and then you can customize it to your heart's content. Now, when you open a project, you're going to be given the assembly view, as you can see there. What we're going to look at on the right is a load of variables that we can actually adjust. So you can adjust the length, hole radius, hole offset, and you can also do the materials. And what that will do, as I show you, as you adjust it, it will actually update the model there and then in front of your eyes. You can do the same with the holes. You can increase that hole because this is a keychain fidget spinner, so you can make it adaptable to whatever keychain you've got. You can also increase the offsets, which obviously you have to be sensible here because it has to stay within the realms of the actual model. And then for the actual graphical representation, you can change the material settings as well. And that is absolutely brilliant. What I would say is once you've actually cut it out, you can click on exploded view, and then it even gives you the order in which you need to assemble it, which is really, really useful. So you need no CAD skills to be able to do this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to specify the size we want, and then I'm going to show you the next steps. So in this case, I am going to be doing it on a black acrylic. I have already done this on wood, but we're going to be using black acrylic for this one. And all you need to do is measure the thickness of your item. In this case, I'm using some calipers to do that, and our acrylic is 2.5 millimeters thick. So now that we spoke about our material, we are going to change a couple of things. The first thing is our layer thickness. The default is 3 millimeters. I have now changed that to 2.5, and I am going to be doing a black acrylic. So I will click black acrylic, and it will give us an idea of how it looks visually. So we're good now. The next thing we need to do is in the bottom right corner, you will see open in Studio. Click on that button. It will split it out, and then it will open up xTool Studio, and it will then give you the files in a format like you will see right here. So we have our project file in xTool Studio, and as you can see right here, it has brought it in as a grouped set of objects. We don't want that in this case because we are dealing with the F2 and it's got a more limited spatial area. We need to right click it And first thing I've done is right click it, ungroup, and now you'll see everything is taken apart. This is where you need to be really careful, because if you highlight certain bits, you'll see it will allow me to actually drag them away. We don't want to do that for those parts. So what I am going to do in this case is I am going to select the individual components. So in this case, here's our first one. I'm going to right click it and select group. Then that will allow us to move that part independently to the rest. We're going to do the same for the previous ones. So there's that one as well. These ones we can leave. You're going to need to be very careful with this one because obviously there are multiple parts within it. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to right click and group again. I should be able to drag that out. There's our next part. We can do the same with this one. We're going to group, move it. You'll see I've missed a part there, and this is why it's critical to make sure everything is selected. Right click and group, move it out. We will do the same for these last two parts. Group, move it out, and then group, move it out. So you're probably wondering why I've moved it all out. So let me explain the concept behind this to you, because it's really important to understand just for your own lasering knowledge and to understand the limitations of a galvo laser, which is what we've got. Now, when you've got a galvo laser, the source of the laser is in the middle and it's being directed by mirrors like this to cut the items. So if you think about placing your objects to be cut, the closer to the center of the machine, the straighter it's going to be. It's never going to be truly straight, but it'll be straighter. If you've got something that's on the outside of your actual laser space, it's going to be cutting it like that, which means you're going to have a tapered edge on it. So what we're going to do in this case is we are individually going to laser each part as central in the machine as we can. And that way we limit the amount of actual tapered edge offset. And that allows us to get as straight an edge as possible, which should then allow us to then fit everything together without any issues. So now we've gone through that, let me explain what we're going to do first. So we are going to pick our items. As you can see, we have got various different versions of the same. So here is our first one. I am actually going to rotate it 90 degrees just because I want it to be viewable on the camera. So I'm going to have to do that with this one as well, just so it's consistent. So we're going to start off with this item right here. And as you can see, it's going to be fairly central, but these outside edges, like I said, may be slightly tapered, but I suspect we will be okay. So the first thing we need to do, we're cutting on acrylic. We are going to set our material. And I have got a black acrylic, which is 3mm from xTool Studios library. We're going to set that as our default material setting. And then within that, we can select cut over here. I'll show you. We're going to be selecting cut here, and then we get given a one-click set. And within this, we can select what we want. I think in the past, I've used this one. Just to be safe in this case, I'm going to use 90% and free speed, just because I want it to work definitely in one pass. So now that we have our settings, we are going to frame the item. So we're going to click the arrow here. I'm going to do an outline frame. And then what we're going to do is we're going to frame it, and we're going to go over and adjust our material, because we want to optimize the space on the material and take up as little of the material as we can when we're cutting it. So let's move over and do that. So in this case, you can see the heart outline, and what I am going to try and do is position it to the edge of my material so that I use as little as possible. What we do need to bear in mind though is this is obviously going to fall out if we let go. So we need to close the lid and make sure it's clamping it down securely enough that it won't go anywhere during the cutting, and that looks good to me. So now that we've finished framing, we are going to click the process button, and that is going to give us an estimated time of 3 minutes 42. So this is acrylic, it cuts it slowly. You can obviously speed that up with different materials and different thicknesses. So now I'm going to record this for you. I'm going to do a time lapse of each part, and then we can get back to the end where it's all going to be assembled together. One critical thing I wanted to highlight is extraction. Make sure you have good extraction, because as you can see right here, when we are cutting these pieces of material, they have a lot of off-cut bits and they can produce flames. So make sure you have good extraction, make sure you have your cover down and use your cutting plate, and you'll be good as gold. Let's take a little break because I've got something important to say. I just wanted to thank every single one of you for supporting the channel up to this point. If my videos are really helpful to you and you're learning, please give a little something back and subscribe to the channel. It means the world. And also, if you would like early access to videos, shout outs, exclusive discounts and other member benefits, join the channel's membership and become part of the L3D crew. Anyway, let's get back to that video. we have our finished pieces that have been cut out. So the next step will be to assemble them, and we'll see if we've done it right, that they will fit together. Let's assemble it. I have put the little notches, all 5 of them, in their positions just here, as you can see. Now we're going to take this small piece here and we're just going to fit it over. Everything so far is fitting really nicely, which I'm happy to see. We're going to take the large cog and that will go over there, and it should spin, which it is. We are then going to take the smaller cog and place it there, making sure it interlocks, and now the 2 should spin together, as you can see they are. Then finally, this is our keychain piece, which we are going to locate over these 2 holes just here, over the 2 notches, just like so. Everything is now pushed down and moving, so all we have to do is apply our top piece and line it up correctly. And we are going to place it on top, and then we're good to go. And there you have it. We have our working fidget spinner keychain. It is a bit grubby from my fingers, so it needs a clean up, but I'm happy. And we obviously did the same with wood as well. And it's great that you have that versatility, and I'm very, very impressed that it worked, even with the offsets that we put. So now that we've created our first item, we're back to make our final item, and this is the name flower generator. And this is the main screen you'll be presented with. We're going to click on Create New, and that will take us to this default area over here. And if I just zoom in a little bit, you'll see you are given a number of different variables that you can define. So if I zoom back out, what I'll show you is there are different flower heads, and as you click on them, it will update the design, which is really cool. And like I said, you don't need any design skills to be able to do this, which is one of the things I really, really like about it. So we're just going to pick a simple flower in this case, and I will go for this one here. And then what we want to do on the left side over here, you'll see another tab. Click on that, and we can now define the leaf that we're going to do. I quite like what it's done there. I think that's going to come out nice. What we can also do is adjust these toggles to increase or decrease the size, and I will do it a little bit here, and you can move the position up and down as it's showing there. So once again, it's really, really cool. We are going to be printing this, or we're going to be making this on the xTool F2. So I'm going to try and keep it as small as possible, because ultimately our whole engraving space is a bit smaller, and we want to get as much in there as we can. So I'm going to go back to the top leaf, and I'm going to adjust these positions a little bit like that. Okay. So now we're going to click on text. I'm going to keep the words love, but you can change this to anything you want. If you wanted Chris, if you wanted something else, but I will keep love in this case. And as you can see, you can also adjust the position of this text. You've got to be careful. Obviously, if you did that, it wouldn't work because you haven't got any adjoinment. And I will also increase the font size a bit because I actually want it to be nice and sturdy. In this case, because we're going to go small, it might be that the text needs to be a bit bigger to make it strong, because if it's too thin, it could easily snap. So we're going to go for that one there, and I will just go back to the leaf setting and just shorten that stem length off a little bit. And then hopefully what I can do is get it all to fit in there as nice as possible. I'm going to move this leaf here down a little bit, and then I'm going to reduce the stem length, which I have done. And then finally, we are then going to move the text position in a good spot there. So we'll go with this. We'll try this out and we're going to see how this looks. So now that we're happy with it, we're going to click Open Studio up there, Open in Studio. And what that will do is that will open it in xTool Studio, and then we'll move on from there. So one point to note, you will see here, it does come in at a large size. Like I said, this has probably been designed for one of the larger cutters like the P2 or the P3. However, we are going to try and make it work in our actual engraving space on the F2. So I'm going to roughly drag it down to approximately the right size. And what I'll do at this point, I will rotate it because I am going to try and maximize this length of the engraving. And as you can see, if I rotate it like that, what it basically means is I can fit it a bit bigger in that area diagonally. So now that we know that fits and both will fit, we're going to right click on it, ungroup, and then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out our background, and that is this one here. So I'm going to centrally locate it as we've done there. I can also just select center align off the top toolbar there, and that way we've got the maximum chance of the laser cutting through it. We are going to be using a 3mm basswood plywood in this case. So I'm going to select that, and then we are going to select cut. And as you can see, if I change the color of the layer, it's now put a nice yellow outline of where it's going to cut. So let's go through with that and let's see. I'm not going to show you the framing because I've shown you it previously. We're going to go straight to the engraving and we're going to see how this one comes out. With our secondary piece that will sit over the top of it, we also want to cut this out, as you can see there. And what I will do, once again, I'll change it to red so you can see it. We're going to select our one-click set, and in this case, I'm going to go with the default. Actually, I'll go a bit more powerful because it's on the outside of the laser. It might mean on the outer edges, it's going to struggle to cut through because it'll be at its most angled approach. So if we go 100% power, that should give us more chance of succeeding. So there you go. I'm not going to frame it, as I said. I'm going to do this. We'll join the two bits together, and then we'll see how it looks. There you go. It's come out nice. I mean, it needs a little bit of cleaning because there is more char on it than I expected, but that is because all of these little pieces here were flying out on top, and I had to do 2 passes just so that the laser would cut through it, but it has. So let's do the other part and see how it goes together. There we have it. Is it going to pop out? Gently, it will. And there we have our base. So let's take a look at the two together. So here we have the results. As you can see, they've come out really nice. What I actually decided to do is to redo this one, but in a red MDF that I have. And now if you put the two together, you have a beautiful red rose that says love. And we've made that by ourselves on the xTool F2. I am going to glue it together and then we'll see the final results. So I just wanted to show you the results. We've got our acrylic fidget spinner keychain. We have love two-tone wooden cutout piece. Both of these items were made using Atomm, using the Parametric software that they've got inside, so anyone can literally do this themselves. So feel free to have a go, and I hope you like the results. So there you have it. We have had a really successful session there, making our really cool parametric designs. Hopefully you feel much more confident to step into the world of Atomm, have a look, get some inspiration, and use that to up your own skills. Talking of upping your skills, check out our other playlists for xTool Studio software tutorials and xTool F2 and other laser software. And also, if you want to become a member to get your exclusive instant access to discounts and also early access to videos, then join our team, the L3D team. And once again, thank you to those of you that have joined us. Really, really appreciate it. So once again, thank you for watching. Check out the communities, take a look at Atomm, and thank you and have a great day.